Israel says it will support India militarily to any extent to help it, and it also sends warning against China and Pakistan. Also, India has sent its Heron UAV near the India-China border. The UAV was spotted at the Indian Air Force Crucial Air Base in Bareilly in the latest satellite imagery shared by the open source intelligence Twitter handle. The development indicates that India has increased its alertness along the LAC after it rejected the Chinese military proposal to engage from 8 critical border points in eastern Ladakh. On December 17, 2020, Ron Malka, official of Israel, announced that the Jewish nation would provide whatever the friend India needs to defend itself. The announcement assumes significance in view of the emerging geopolitics scenario during the COVID-19 pandemic. While all the Gulf countries support and now has a full diplomatic ties with Israel, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also is likely to follow the suit. Pakistan now has been ignored from all the Gulf countries' support, which is a big blow for it. Israel won't be found of wanting and meeting India's requirement to defend itself against all challenges and hostilities, although such cooperation is not directed against any other country, the Israel ambassador Ron Malka told to Hindustan Times of India. Mr. Malka also has said, "Since we have a strong friendship, whatever India needs from Israel to defend itself, we are there and available to India because this is how we manage our friendship, and especially a precious friendship with like India." Mr. Malka, while talking to Hindustan Times, also said, "But I have to stress that we are not against anyone. We have enough problems of our own. So we are not against anyone, but we are in favor of India, and we also trust India and the bold and the strong leadership of India, that India knows how to manage its affairs wisely." He indicated that India didn't need Israel against any country. Rather, you need us to share with your experience and practices since we share similar challenges and similar hostilities. Therefore, a declaration from Ron Malka was just a formality, as now Israel will provide technology, weaponry, military equipment, servicing, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, media, radar system, drones or Iron Dome air defense system, etc. to India. It may even lead to Israel's actual participation in a war-like scenario from Indian side, as this is what the word whatever used by Malka implies. Once if a war between India and Pakistan breaks out, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will force Pakistan on the dictations of the US to abdicate its claim on Kashmir by holding and ransom Pakistan 1.6 million job visas. Israeli ambassador's statement that Israel would go to any extent to help India, therefore it is confined to Pakistan alone, but it also is an extended warning to China as well, which means that now Israel's F-35 stealth fighter jet will be at India's end to chase the Chinese maneuvering. This is the bone of the contention for both India and the US, which is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or the CPEC and its gateway to Baltistan, which will support India in equal numbers by US. After the Becca, the US aircraft carrier Nimitz will also help India. Now we have to see how Russia will enter and step in to support China, as China is quietly allied with Pakistan to confront the impending war in Himalayas with the new reality that Israel will also be with India on equal footing in any extent or any war scenarios. The UAV is possibly part of India's intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance mission along India's border with Nepal and China. Indian Army, the Air Force and the Navy use the medium-altitude long-endurance Heron UAVs for surveillance and target acquisition purposes. The drones have been in service with the Indian Armed Force for several years. To strengthen the border monitoring capabilities and firepower, India is likely to order an armed version of the UAV and upgrade the existing fleet of unarmed UAVs under Indian Air Force project called Cheetah for 3,500 crore rupees. So, what do you think of Israel sending a clear warning to China and Pakistan and giving its full support to India with militarily to any extent? In a strategic move, India and Australia have signed a comprehensive strategic partnership deal to join hands against China. While India and Australia are standing tough against China in these uncertain times, this remarkable move makes this deal a most important one. India's peace talk with China is still not yet going positive. This landmark deal will impact China hardly, as world's biggest democracies as the US, India, the UK, France, Canada and Australia are joining hands against China. The mutual logistics support agreement between India and Australia gives a pass to India's growing military power in the Indian Ocean region. In this deal, India can use Australia's air bases and naval bases to refuel, rearm, repair, dock and ammunition their ships and air forces of India. India also already has a similar pact with United States, France, Indonesia, Singapore. On last week of Thursday, India's Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi and the Australian Prime Minister Mr. Scott Morrison had an important first-time virtual summit. In this summit, both sides agreed to increase their military interoperability through the defense exercises through their arrangement of concerning mutual logistics support. Australia also said that it will back India's candidacy for the permanent membership of reform the UN Security Council and India's candidacy for the non-permanent seat at UNSC for the 2011-2022 terms. Australia also expressed its strong support for the India's membership for the Nuclear Surprise Group, which China strongly opposes India's inclusion. Although China is the biggest buyer of the Australia's export, there have been trade frictions between the two recently. Indian troops are locked in a standoff with the Chinese troops on their disputed border high in the Himalayas. This comes at the time when India is increasingly concerned by its huge trade deficit with China and the Beijing's rapidly expanding footprint in South Asia through its Belt and Road initiative. With this deal, India gets all access to the military bases in Australia, which means literally India gets a military base in Australia. India is also considering Australia to take part in the upcoming naval exercise with US, Japan and India in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. In 2007, Australia withdrew from the naval exercises because of China's strong opposing. So what do you think of India's getting a military base in Australia? Can India benefit from these bases located in foreign soils?